For as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a nurse. My grandmother had a brother who had had a stroke. I remember visiting him in the hospital. And I remember when he came home to live with her, and she took care of him. And my grandmother would let me feed him breakfast every morning. I would sit up on the arm of the chair and she would give me a plate of grits and eggs and I would feed him. And so I think he was my very first patient at 6 years old, and that was my very first experience as a nurse. From high school, I went to college, and nursing was my first major, but didn't do so well the first go round, and so I decided that I would go for surgical technology. I worked as a surgical tech for about 7 years. I really enjoyed it, but nursing was still kind of ingrained in my heart. I decided that I would go to nursing school and got my associate's degree in nursing. The very first unit I worked was a mother-baby unit. I worked there for about 3 years, but then I felt like I needed a little more challenge. I decided to move on to critical care, and I worked as a critical care nurse for a few years and also did labor and delivery, so still a little adrenaline pumping. Those were really good opportunities for me. Went on to get my bachelor's degree, and after I received my bachelor's degree, I decided that I wanted to travel as a RN. So I spent a couple of years in California, and I came back and I worked for the federal government in outpatient in primary clinic, and then I decided that I wanted to go back to school for my master's degree. While I was working on my master's degree, got the travel bug again and went as far as California, couldn't go any further than that, and so then I decided that I would go overseas. I wound up interviewing for a position in Doha, Qatar, and I was hired. Going overseas was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I was recruited by Sidra Medicine to help open a women's outpatient clinic, and it was one of my biggest accomplishments. After about a year and a half, 2 years in opening the clinic, I was promoted as a director to open the inpatient for our inpatient hospital, which spans almost 2 football fields. And I was promoted and I helped open the women's services in the inpatient hospital. We delivered our very first baby. It was the Amir's niece, and so that was exciting. The Sheikh Moza Sidra Medicine was her dream, and I had the opportunity to give her a tour the day we opened to her. She wanted to bring, healthcare to her country and to empower women, and the fact that I could help make that come true for her was really rewarding for me as well. What brought me back to the United States? My husband. He is what brought me back. I met my husband on a Facebook group. One day we connected, and that connection led to me getting engaged and getting married. And so I moved back to the United States. I now have an almost 2-year-old, and I am the bonus mom or stepmom, if you will, of 3 lovely children. I think nurses make the best mom because it's just in us to nurture, and especially when our children are young, that's what they need. And I think that there's just something in us that people gravitate to us when they're not feeling well or they need advice. It's just the nursing in us. When I am taking care of, providing care for someone, I want them to feel the impact of the care that I'm providing for them. I want to be impactful, that they remember and that they felt cared for and that they felt special, that they felt that they just weren't another assignment or, just a name on a notepad.